What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Credit. I'm back again with another one. Need you guys do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos and lives like these. That being said, let's get into it. Um, there's a lot of topics to talk about in the sport of boxing, and I just want to clear the air on a few of those topics. And one of the biggest topics is that a lot of people try to compare Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis to Canelo Alvarez versus Benavidez. That's not a comparison. You cannot compare the two. The only comparison between Terence Crawford and Canelo, Terence Crawford and Jaron is Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez. The only comparison right there is the age and probably the size. The age and the size. That's the only thing you could compare. Everything else is not a compare. Is not comparable. And I'm about to break it down. When we look at David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez, right? What stands out? Why the fight's not happening? What stands out when we look at Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis? What stands out? Why the fight's not happening? First of all, let's start with Canelo Alvarez. Then we're gonna come down to Terence Crawford and finish off with Terence Crawford. Canelo versus David Benavidez. David Benavidez was the champion at 168, right? He had the WBC belt at 168. He never unified, right? He failed a drug test. Not he didn't fail a drug test for popping dirty. He failed a drug test for a substance abuse, not PED, not PED. I think it was what was it for? I think it was for crack or some shit. They said he was smoking crack. No, I don't want to be wrong. He was on some type of drug or whatever, but it wasn't PED, right? Boom. He loses his title, right? He loses his title. Canelo Alvarez sees an opportunity because at the time we knew Benavidez was one of the best guys at 168. We knew Benavidez was one of the best guys at 168. He had the belt, but he lost the belt. As soon as he loses the belt, Canelo petitioned to go up in weight to fight for David Benavidez' belt. He didn't want to fight David Benavidez when David had the belt. As soon as David loses the belt, Canelo petitioned to go up there to fight for that WBC belt. He goes up there, he collects the WBC, and he says, you know what? I'm going to stick around and unify the entire division since David is not in play no more. Now, how then can we compare? I'm not even done yet. I'm just starting off. How then can we compare that to Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis situation? There's no comparison. How can we compare what Canelo did with Benavidez? How can we compare that to the Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis situation? David Benavidez was already making noise. Everybody already knew who David Benavidez was. He was a champion already. He had the belt. You understand what I'm saying? Canelo wasn't in his weight class. He was making noise in that weight class before Canelo even went up there because he lost the belt. Canelo had the opportunity to go and collect those belts and become undisputed. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what happened with that situation. Moving forward, Canelo unified the entire division. Everybody keep talking about the fight. Everybody say, yo, the fight is hot. Canelo versus Benavidez. That's the fight we want to see. That's the fight we want to see because we believe Benavidez is the best at 168. That's what everybody keeps saying. We believe Benavidez is best at 168. Benavidez, he said he wants to fight Canelo. But He wants to prove himself first. Not like Jaron Ennis. Benavidez goes out and he proves himself. He fights Caleb Plant. And not just fight Caleb Plant. He fought Caleb Plant on pay-per-view to raise his profile. Benavidez goes out. He fights Caleb Plant. He raises his profile, right? He raises his profile. He beats Caleb Plant. He didn't knock out Caleb Plant because the referee allowed Caleb Plant to hold. A lot of people won't say that. They be like, man, Benavidez could have knocked out Caleb Plant because uh Benavidez couldn't knock out Caleb Plant, but Canelo did. Caleb Plant didn't really hold for Canelo as much as he held for Benavidez. It looked like Caleb Plant worked on holding the entire camp because the amount of holding he did versus Benavidez was disgusting, right? Moving forward, Benavidez also goes and he raises his profile again. He gets on another pay-per-view versus Demetrius Andre. Right, guys? I'm trying to show you guys there's no comparison with Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis and Canelo versus David Benavidez. It's actually the opposite. And I'm going to break that down to you. So when anybody say Crawford versus Benavidez, Crawford versus Ennis, Canelo versus Benavidez, is the same situation. Don't let that person lie to you. They don't follow the sport. They have no idea what's going on. They do not follow the sport of boxing. And we need to educate these people on the sport of boxing when they say nonsense like that. Crawford versus Ennis, Benavidez versus Canelo, there is no comparison. The only thing we can really compare, Benavidez is younger, Benavidez is bigger, Jaron Ennis is younger, Jaron Ennis is bigger. That's the only thing we can compare. The youth and the size. But the situation surrounding the build-up for the fight, there is no comparison at all. There is no one guy refused to fight the other guy twice, and Canelo just don't want to fight Benavidez at all. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic. Going back, right? Benavidez raises his profile. He fights Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre is a guy. Demetrius Andre is a guy that nobody wanted to fight. An undefeated fighter, Demetrius Andre. He moved up to 168, but he's a guy even Canelo didn't want to fight. Canelo Alvarez refused to fight Demetrius Andre. Do you guys know that Canelo Alvarez could have been undisputed in 2 weight classes if he would have fought Demetrius Andre? He had an opportunity to become undisputed in 2 weight classes. Not 1, but 2. He could have been undisputed at 160. All he had to do was fight David Benavidez after he beat Gennady Golovkin in a controversial fight. He had an opportunity to fight Demetrius Andre and go for undisputed. And guess what Canelo did? Canelo said, no, I'm not fighting Demetrius Andre. Payday, payday. All he wants is payday. This is what Canelo Alvarez said. He said Demetrius Andre wanted payday when Demetrius Andre wanted to fight Canelo to unify all the belts. He said, F out of here. You want payday. You are nobody. What did he say? Damn, I forgot what he said, but it was the funniest thing I've ever heard. He said, you want payday, payday, payday. Anyway, fast forward. Canelo refuses to fight Benavidez. No, not Benavidez. He's refusing to fight Benavidez now. Canelo refuses to fight Andre. Benavidez comes in and he cleans up Canelo's mess. I won't call Andre mess. I'm just saying Benavidez comes in and he cleans up what Canelo refused to do, and that's fight uh, Demetrius Andre. And he doesn't just only fight Demetrius Andre, he does it on another pay-per-view, raising his profile even more. So now, David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez is one of the biggest fights in the sport. They asked Canelo Alvarez, will you fight David Benavidez? He says, I don't have to prove myself. I fought everybody. I beat this guy. I beat this guy. They said, fight Billy Joe Saunders. Nobody told Canelo to fight Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo's lying. They said, fight Billy Joe Saunders. Fight Caleb Smith. Nobody told Canelo to go fight those guys. Nobody even thought Canelo was going to go up to 168. We never even thought he was going to go up to 175 to fight Dimitri Bivol. Canelo chose to do that. We never asked Canelo to fight not David Benavidez. We never asked World Combat Sports, salute, World Combat Sports. Do you ever remember the boxing fans or the boxing public asking for Canelo to fight Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Smith? Who else did he fight up there? Rocky Fielding. When did the boxing world ask Canelo to fight these guys? When did the boxing world ask Canelo to fight Caleb Plant? We never asked for Caleb Plant. Canelo was never linked to Caleb Plant ever until he went up to 168. Canelo said, exactly. He's making it seem like we asked him to fight those guys. As long as I've been watching boxing, I've never heard people say Canelo needs to fight Caleb Smith. Canelo needs to fight Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo needs to fight, what's his name? Yeah. What's his name? What's his name? Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Billy Joe Saunders, and who else? Caleb Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, and Caleb Plant. Nobody was asking for those fights. What's happening, guys? Line them up. Bud fight them all. Beat them up. Versus Bruce Ennis, then Canelo. They don't want to smoke with Bud. That's facts. World Combat Sports says, not at all. Just for easy unification. That's it. Boxing World just watched him collect belts. Plant had the IBF, and the only reason he fought Canelo. Callum Smith. King, good morning. Salute. Yeah. So why would Canelo tell the public that we asked him to fight those guys when he was never even linked to those guys? We never asked him to fight any of those dudes he was talking about. He's trying to gaslight us. He's trying to gaslight us by saying we asked him to fight all of these dudes and we never did. The fights we asked him for, if we can really sit down and really think about it, the fights we really wanted Canelo to fight was Jamal Charlo, not Jermell. Let's talk about it. We wanted Canelo to fight Jamal Charlo, Gennady Golovkin, Demetrius Andre, and now David Benavidez. All these other people he's talking about, we never asked him to fight them. So he's just making this shit up. So Canelo do an interview and he lie and say, we asked him to fight all of these guys when we never did. And he says, David Benavidez brings nothing to the table but 30 extra pounds, and that's all he brings to the table, which is a lot. David Benavidez has been on 2 pay-per-views. They may have not been the biggest pay-per-views, but he's been on 2 pay-per-views against a guy, one of those guys he's fought. Canelo already fought. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to show you guys there's no comparison with Bud and Ennis. Canelo been on pay-per-view with Caleb Plant. David Benavidez been on pay-per-view with Caleb Plant. David Benavidez fought a guy Canelo refused to fight, Demetrius Andre. Can we say the same thing about Jaron Ennis? Has Jaron Ennis ever fought a guy Crawford refused to fight? Has Jaron Ennis ever been on pay-per-view with a guy Crawford's been on pay-per-view with? There is absolutely no comparison with Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez, and Terence Crawford, Jaron Boots Ennis. In fact, the Canelo Alvarez situation, I completely just destroyed it, right? How there's no comparison with that. Now we look at Crawford versus Ennis. Crawford versus Ennis. Crawford was already at 147. He didn't move up to 147 and Jaron Ennis had a belt like Canelo moved up and Benavidez had the belt but he lost it. That wasn't the case. When Crawford moved up, nobody knew who Jaron Ennis was. I'm from Philly. I didn't know who Jaron Ennis was when Crawford moved up in weight. He had never been a world champion when Crawford moved up in weight. Nobody knew who he was. Nobody knew who he was. Crawford moved up. He was calling out Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman was a unified champion. He was calling out Earl Spence Jr. King, salute. I forgot to even mention that part as well. Benavidez been waiting for almost 5 years as a mandatory for Canelo. I won't say 5, but like 3 years. He's been waiting for like 3 years for Canelo Alvarez fight. Right? That's facts. Thanks for adding that in there, King. I appreciate that, my guy. So he's been waiting almost 3 years for. He's been Canelo Alvarez mandatory for almost 3 years, and Canelo refuses to fight him. Jaron Ennis actually left the WBO ranking to avoid being Crawford's mandatory. How can people try to make a comparison between these 2 fights? There is no comparison. It's the complete opposite. One guy is running from the fight, the other guy is running to the fight. One guy is proving himself and trying to build his name. The other guy hasn't gotten any opportunity to prove himself and is still relatively unknown and unproven. He hasn't done anything in the sport of boxing but collect the E-mill belt. And that's Jaron Boots Ennis, right? So Jaron Ennis leaves the WBO ranking to fight a guy named Karen nobody's ever heard of to collect a Mickey Mouse belt. What's up? Mind your business. Mind your business. To collect a Mickey Mouse belt, right? Jaron Ennis leaves the WBO. Why would you leave the WBO ranking to go collect a Mickey Mouse belt? The IBF interim belt. This is ridiculous. He could have been the mandatory for Terence Crawford. He could have been the mandatory for Terence Crawford, and he left the WBO rankings to go fight for a Mickey Mouse belt. And people try to ignore that. It's disgusting how these boxing fans react. when they come on the internet. They act as if they don't know what goes on in the sport. And guys like me in World Combat Sports got to come on the internet and clean up their mess and bring these guys back to reality. So he ducks Terence Crawford by leaving the WBO rankings to go fight for the IBF interim belt, right? Then Crawford gets an opportunity to fight on another platform called BLK Prime. They reach out to Jaron and his team. Jaron and his team, being his dad, who is his manager, says, we don't want to fight Terence Crawford on BLK Prime. Crawford needs to come on Showtime to fight us, knowing that you can't tell a champion where to come to fight you. I'm the champion. I'm the bigger draw. I'm the pay-per-view star. I'm offering you a fight to come fight on my network, and you're telling me, I understand you're the pay-per-view draw. You're the number one pound-for-pound fighter, but I can't fight on your network. You got to come fight on mine. Do that make sense? Why should I cater to a guy that hasn't done anything in the sport of boxing? Why should I cater to that guy? Why should I go and fight on Showtime if I'm on BLK Prime? I was trying to help this app get some notoriety. Jaron Ennis and his team acted like divas. They acted like they were the one in charge. They were the champions. But we all know that was a duck move. They only said that because they never wanted to fight, which proved when Terence Crawford says, Team Ennis ducked me twice already. Can Canelo Alvarez say David Benavidez ducked him twice? Absolutely not. Canelo cannot come out of his mouth and say David Benavidez ducked me twice. But Crawford can say that. So how then can we compare the two? One guy is saying, this young man ducked me twice. Another guy, he can't even say that. There is no comparison with Crawford and Ennis. There is no comparison with Crawford, Ennis, and Canelo and Benavidez. There is no comparison. Absolutely no comparison. Salute Chris Gons. He says, a lot of people say boot style will be difficult for Bud. Yeah, they don't realize how smart cerebral Bud is. He would figure out boots very easily as far as Canelo. Bud's jab will bust Canelo up easy. Salute Chris Gons. I agree, man. This guy, Terence Crawford, is a computer in there. He's the real Matrix. I remember Bob Arum and everybody used to call Vasily Lomachenko the Matrix. I'm like, the real Matrix is Terence Bud Crawford. He's decoded boxing. You understand what I'm saying? He's the real Matrix. Go listen to Teddy Atlas. When Crawford fights, he slows down the game. He slows down the pace because he's fighting in a lane of his own. I remember Teddy Atlas doing an interview, doing a show or whatever, where he talks about how Crawford slows down the pace. He's literally fighting in the Matrix. That's what he does. Against Jaron Ennis, it'll be no difference. Like we seen against Earl Spence Jr. I mean, King says, Karen made him look bad. I agree. Karen made Jaron Ennis look like he's not a complete fighter. He has a lot of holes in his game, and he has a lot to work on. He has a whole lot to work on, and he needs to work on that fast if he wants to get in the ring with a guy like Terence Crawford. So, on one hand, one guy is proven, the other guy isn't proven. Benavidez is proven. Jaron Ennis hasn't beat anybody in the sport of boxing to raise his profile or for us to say Jaron Ennis is proven and ready for Terence Crawford. He hasn't done anything, which is bad. He hasn't done anything to get him. I could understand if Jaron Ennis had fought two people we knew. We can be like, damn, okay, Benavidez fought Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andre. He's ready for Canelo Alvarez. We can't say the same thing about Jaron Ennis. Who did Jaron Ennis fight for us to say he's ready for Crawford? Absolutely nobody. David Benavidez fought two guys that we really know. Demetrius Andre and what's his name? Caleb Plant. Those two guys. We know those guys. We can even make it three. Anthony Durrell. So David Benavidez fought three guys that we know that got him ready for Canelo Alvarez. Anthony Durrell, Caleb Plant, and Demetrius Andre. Those three guys has prepared David Benavidez to be able to compete with Canelo Alvarez. Can we name one guy that Jaron Ennis fought that we can say he's ready to compete with Bud Crawford? He hasn't fought anybody. It's not a fair fight. It is not a fair fight. Some people say this is a 50-50 fight, and I'm laughing at these people. I'm like, do y'all know anything about boxing? This kid is relatively unknown right now because he's absolutely not proven, and he hasn't fought anybody to get him ready, not just for the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, but the best fighter of this generation. Jaron Ennis versus Terence Crawford is a setup fight for Jaron Ennis to lose, to fail. He's going to fail horribly. He's going to go in there and realize he's never been on that level before. But it's going to be too late. Because guys like me, we come on here and try to educate the public on how the sport of boxing works. This kid is unproven. He does not belong in the ring with Crawford like Benavidez belongs in the ring with Canelo. Benavidez has 3 solid wins under his belt to prepare him for Canelo Alvarez. Jaron Ennis has absolutely no wins under his belt to prepare him for Terence Crawford. He's going to look horrible if he get in the ring with Crawford. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a one-sided ass whooping, similar to what we saw with Crawford versus Earl Spence Jr. A one-sided ass whooping. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a one-sided ass whooping, like what we saw with Crawford versus Earl Spence. I'm saying. But anyway, moving forward, there is no comparison. Benavidez being Canelo mandatory for 3 years. Jaron Ennis being Terence Crawford mandatory for the IBF, which he was Earl Spence mandatory. But Crawford took on Earl Spence responsibilities after he beat Earl Spence, but he couldn't defend the belt against Jaron because he was locked in a 2-fight deal. Right? Exactly. So the IBF dropped the ball when they script Terence Crawford because the man only had the belt for 2 months. Canelo had the belt for 3 years, and the WBC still refused to take the belt from Canelo Alvarez. How we go from 2 months to 3 years? One organization is taking the belt from another guy after having the belt for 2 months. The other organization refused to take the belt from the guy who had the belt for 3 years and refused to fight as mandatory. It makes absolutely no sense. There is no comparison. Chris Gunn says, nobody wants to fight Bud. It's been like that for years. Earl was running from Bud for years. Keith Thurman, big mouth, always talking about Bud never wanted any part of Bud. That's facts. Let's go as far as saying Keith was on record saying, I have no interest in fighting Terence Crawford. Maybe you can entice me, but I have no interest. I have never had interest in fighting Terence Crawford. This is what Keith Thurman said, right? All right, moving forward, I already destroyed a narrative that there's no comparison with Crawford versus Ennis or Canelo versus Benavidez. There's no comparison. We cannot compare the two. Now, moving forward, right? Bud wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez. He don't want to fight Jaron Ennis because Jaron Ennis already turned the fight down twice. Fighting Jaron Ennis is a step down from what he's trying to do. He's trying to fight Canelo to become 3-time undisputed in a different weight class. He don't want to fight Ennis, who is unproven. He goes and he beats Ennis. He gets no credit. Yes, they might credit him 3-time undisputed, but he's already been undisputed at that weight class. I've already been undisputed at 147. Why would I try to be 2-time undisputed in the same weight class? I'm trying to be 3-time undisputed in a different weight class. Fighting Jaron Ennis is a step down from fighting Canelo Alvarez. And a lot of people are confused why Bud wants to fight Canelo Alvarez. Man, Bud wants to cash out. Bud wants to cash out. No, he don't. No, he don't. Bud wanted to fight Canelo because Canelo, he stepped on Terence Crawford's toes. Right or wrong? Canelo Alvarez, he stepped on Terence Crawford's toes. How did he step on Terence Crawford's toes? Terence Crawford's next fight after Errol Spence Jr., the entire world knew that Crawford was going to fight Jermell Charlo. Even Canelo knew that. Canelo goes and he fights Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo refused to fight his mandatory Tim Tszyu. He gets stripped. Canelo messes up Terence Crawford's second undisputed fight. Crawford was going to go up to 154, fight Charlo for undisputed. Canelo Alvarez and the PBC, they blocked Terence Crawford greatness by allowing Charlo to go up 2 weight classes north to fight Canelo Alvarez, a fight nobody was calling for. Nobody said they wanted to see Charlo go up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. It was a random fight we never asked for. We never asked for Charlo to go up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. We was waiting for the outcome of Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford because we knew the winner of that fight was going to go fight Charlo. All Charlo had to do was fight his mandatory and Tim Tszyu. That's all he had to do. Fight his mandatory and Tim Tszyu. He didn't have to fight Canelo Alvarez. That fight made no sense. It made absolutely no sense at all. You understand what I'm saying? It was the PBC who came up with the idea because they knew Crawford was going to get past Errol Spence. And once he get past Errol Spence, he was going to be calling for the Charlo fight next. And they had no choice but to put Crawford versus Charlo next. In order to sabotage Crawford, they allowed Charlo to go up 2 weight classes and fight Canelo Alvarez. And Crawford's like, man, Canelo, why would you take that fight knowing that was the fight I wanted to take next? So you literally stepped on my toes, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo literally stepped on Terence Crawford's toes by fighting Jermell Charlo, a fight he should have never fought. He should have never fought Jermell Charlo, right? He stepped on Terence Crawford's toes, and now Crawford wants to make Canelo Alvarez pay for that. And in doing that, he wants to take all of Canelo's title because Canelo messed up Terence Crawford's other undisputed fight. This is what boxing fans don't understand. That's why guys like me and guys like World Combat Sports, we come on here and we educate the unlearned, the people that don't know the sport of boxing, they don't follow the sport of boxing. That's our job, to come on the internet and bring you guys back to reality. A lot of y'all come on the internet. He should fight Ennis. He just wants to cash out versus Canelo Alvarez. You make absolutely no sense. Canelo stepped on Terence Crawford's toes. Crawford offered Jaron Ennis to fight twice already. Jaron Ennis turned it down. If anybody's trying to cash out, it's Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis is the one trying to cash out versus Terence Crawford because he was already offered a fight twice. He turned it down because he probably thought he wasn't going to get big money at the time. Now, if he fights Terence Crawford, he's going to get his highest payday. So if anybody wants to cash out, it's Jaron Boots Ennis. He's the guy who's trying to cash out. Crawford fighting Canelo is not a cash out fight. Crawford fighting Canelo is to send a message to Canelo, don't step on my toes. You messed up my legacy fight with Charlo. Now I'm gonna punch on you and take your belts. I had no intention of fighting Canelo Alvarez, but because Canelo stepped on my toes, now he has to pay. He messed up my undisputed fight at 154, so now he has to see me. I'm willing to go up to 168 and punch on him for disrespecting me and stepping on my toes and fighting Jermell Charlo, a fight that was my next fight for undisputed at 154. Canelo messed up my money fight. Now he has to see me. This is what boxing fans don't understand. They don't understand what goes on in the sport of boxing. They just come on the internet and just completely troll in the comment sections like they know what the freak they're talking about. It's disgusting how these people carry themselves. Canelo stepped on that man's toes by fighting Jermell Charlo. That was Terence Crawford's next fight. That was his next legacy fight. Now nobody knows what's going on with Jermell Charlo anymore. And you people want to come on the internet and neglect the fact what Canelo did. We have to hold Canelo Alvarez accountable for what he did. He messed up Terence Crawford's other legacy fight because Charlo had a name. Charlo was undisputed. Crawford goes up and he beats Charlo. He becomes 3-time undisputed, and he has another big name on his resume. But Canelo, he sabotaged that man's career by fighting Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo losing all the belts. And now nobody knows where the freak Jermell Charlo is. And Canelo think he can just go back up. He can just go on with his life after messing up Terence Crawford's other legacy fight. That's not how the sport of boxing works. You can't step on my toes and think I'm not going to have a problem with that. Canelo steps on Terence Crawford's toes, and he don't expect the guy to have a problem with that. Why won't Terence Crawford have a problem with Canelo stepping on his toes? You stepped on the man's toes. Of course the man's going to have a problem with that and want to fight you. Crawford's like, man, I had an opportunity to become undisputed in my third weight class. Canelo stepped on my toes. I'm going to go up to 168 and take his freaking belt because he stepped on my freaking toes. And Canelo talking about, man, I don't get no credit for fighting Terence Crawford. You should have thought of that before you fought Jermell Charlo. You should have thought of that before. How you going to fight Jermell Charlo, a lesser fighter than Crawford, and then say you're not going to get credit for fighting Terence Crawford, who's a much better fighter than Jermell Charlo? It makes no sense, Canelo. Canelo's not making no sense. You understand what I'm saying? You need to make sense when you talk to boxing fans. We know boxing. You can't just tell us anything and we're going to believe anything that comes out of your mouth. You got to come with the facts. You got to come with the proof. You understand what I'm saying? Salute. Chris Gon, salute. He says, great show, man, as always. Like the old saying, if you talk the talk, walk the walk. A lot of walkers, no action, no action. A lot of runners, Canelo boots Keith Thurman, the welterweight division. Chris Gon, salute. I agree. Syable says, they don't want to fight Bud. I agree. King says, I don't see why they script Canelo. I don't see why they didn't script Canelo by now. Bro, it's been 3 years. Canelo refused to fight Benavidez, and he still hasn't taken a belt from the guy. Bud is lights out. Salute. Bud is the Lionel Messi of boxing. I agree. The Kobe Bryant of boxing. I agree. The Michael Jordan of boxing. I agree. He's in a lane of his own. Bud is the MJ of boxing. I agree. I 100% agree. Now, moving on from Boots being a step down from Canelo. Boots needs to wait for guys like Devin Haney. Guys, let's sit down and think about this for a second. Boots is trying to do something nobody's asking him to do. Only the Earl Spence fans are putting a battery in his back. He's in a different generation. A fight with him and Crawford, that's not the fight he should be looking at. He's not ready for a fight like that. Just how Canelo wasn't ready for Floyd Mayweather, Jaron Ennis isn't ready for Terence Crawford. It's the same thing over and over again. There is nothing new under the sun. Canelo was never ready for Floyd Mayweather. That was one of Floyd Mayweather's easiest fights. Just how Jaron Ennis isn't ready for Terence Crawford. Jaron Ennis is looking at the wrong guys. Jaron Ennis needs to be looking at Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Subriel Matias, and all the guys at 140. Regis Prograis. Those guys are going to move up to 147. Those are Jaron Ennis legacy fights. Those are Jaron Ennis legacy fights. He's looking at the wrong people. Earl Spence and Terence Crawford are not Jaron Ennis legacy fights. His legacy fights are versus Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, the Subriel Matias. What's the other guy named? Gary Antoine Russell. Those guys are gonna move up in weight. Facts. King, salute. But I'm saying, if we really sit down and think about it, what Boots needs to focus on, he needs to focus on those guys at 140 that are going to be coming up in weight. Those are going to be his legacy fights. We see how Mario Barrios came up in weight. Devin Haney will eventually come up to 147. Ryan Garcia will come up to 147. Teofimo Lopez will come up to 147. Conor Benn is at 147. Stanionis is at 147. Pretty soon, the 147 division will be stacked again. And Jaron Ennis needs to patiently wait his turn. He's trying to jump the line, and it's going to cost him. He may never box again if he gets in the ring with a guy like Terence Crawford. Crawford may retire this kid young. He got to understand, Floyd Mayweather was a guy who will outbox you. Terence Crawford is a guy who retires you. Earl Spence, even though I don't want that to happen, but he may never box again because of the beating he took from Terence Crawford. He may never box again. Jaron Ennis takes that beating from Terence Crawford. He may never box again. He may never have the confidence to want to get in the ring again. My advice to Jaron is wait for the likes of Ryan Garcia, Subriel Matias, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez, and Gary Antoine Russell. Those guys are going to eventually come up to 147, and Jaron is going to be right there waiting for him. Those are his legacy fights. People don't want to admit it, but Jaron Ennis versus Devin Haney is a much closer fight than a lot of people think. When Devin Haney comes up to 147, Jaron Ennis versus Devin Haney will be a much closer fight than a lot of people think. Right now, a lot of people are saying, oh, Jaron is going to knock out Devin Haney. That's what y'all saying now. When Devin Haney comes up to 147 and he start looking good at 147, y'all ain't going to be saying that no more. Y'all going to be saying, Jaron Ennis versus Devin Haney, man, that's a 50-50 fight. That's a 50-50 fight. Right now, y'all saying Haney's going to get knocked out by Jaron Ennis. Let's wait until Haney gets to 147 and see how he does. Then everybody's going to change their tone and say, well, maybe we were wrong. Haney versus Ennis might be a good competitive fight. And that's how it's going to be. Jaron Ennis needs to wait for the Teofimo Lopez of the world, the Devin Haney's of the world, the Subriel Matias of the world, and the Gary Antoine Russell of the world. JMT, Bud is the Bill Russell in boxing. Huh? Bill Russell. Lights out. Bud is the Bruce Lee in boxing. I agree. How did Bruce get 31 fight and fought nobody? King. I'm trying to figure out the same thing, bro. This guy has fought 31 people we don't even know. I don't know. We can't even name 10 of Jaron Ennis' opponents. I can't name 10 people Jaron Ennis fought. Can't name 10 people Jaron Ennis fought. Shit, I can't even name 7 people this guy fought. Let me see if I can name 7 people Jaron Ennis fought. Let me try to go back. I know he fought Chris Van Heerden, Castillo Clayton, Ramon Villa, Thomas Delorme. I only got 4 so far. I got 4 people so far. I got Castillo Clayton, Ramon Villa, Thomas Delorme. Who else? Oh, yeah, Karen. All right, I could do 5. The best I could do is 5. I could do 5. That's the best I could do. I can't do more than 5. I only know 5 people he fought. When I say I know them, meaning I seen the fight. That don't mean they're good fighters. It just means I seen the fight. I remember watching 5 fights from Jaron Ennis that I can remember watching. Other than that, we still don't know these guys. Just because we saw the fight, these guys are not proven. Just like Jaron Ennis himself isn't proven. You understand what I'm saying? He needs to fight somebody. But it was a great move for him to leave Showtime. Him leaving Showtime was the best move he ever made for his career. He's going to be more active. Hopefully, his new promoter, Eddie Hearn, can put up the money to get guys to get in the ring and fight him. And Eddie Hearn says he's willing to put the money up for Terence Crawford to fight him. Terence Crawford never said he wanted $200 million to fight Jaron Ennis. He just said the fight is not a big fight. That's all Crawford said. Crawford said the fight with Jaron Ennis is not a big fight. It's not a big fight. And Crawford's right. Jaron Ennis' last fight versus Ramon Villa, he literally made like $100K. How do you make $100K? Yo, How do you make 100K? How do you make 100K and you want to get in a ring with Terence Crawford thinking that's going to be a huge pay-per-view fight? Got to, how do you make 100K thinking you can get in a ring with Terence Crawford and that's a big fight? There's no money in a fight like that. Crawford's in a different lane. I'll go as far as to say Bud would beat Bivol and David Benavidez. Whoa. Whoa. That's a lot of weight, man. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. I don't know if Bud goes all the way up there, man. That's a lot of weight. Them boys is big, bro. Them boys is big. They got some boxing skills too. You know, I bet Bud against anybody, but them boys is big. Benavidez, that man was a heavyweight. We know why Canelo don't want to fight him. Canelo don't like when a guy have a huge size advantage. Even though what's his name had a huge size advantage and Canelo still fought him. I'm talking about Callum Smith. Callum Smith had a huge size advantage and Canelo still fought him. I think Callum Smith is like 6'3". But lights out. I won't rule that out. I think Bud can hold his own against anybody in the world. Honestly, this guy's a special fighter. That's just a lot of weight. That's all. The idea of sitting down and thinking about it, it's just like you'd be like, whoa, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. Michael Simpson L. Jr., salute. Oh, man. Man, we had a lot to talk about today. We were killing the narrative that Crawford versus Ennis is the same as Canelo versus Benavidez. That's not the same. People are saying a lot of crazy stuff on the internet, and we had to destroy these narratives. D-Ray Live on a dive. My bad. Let me read it again. D-Ray Live on a drive. Salute. He said, what it do? Anybody in the world. Salute. What's going on, D-Ray? Hey, yo, Michael Simpson L. Jr., I dropped the link if you want to come on and say a few things before I get off of here. If you want to come on and say a few things before I get off, I'm getting off in a little bit. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. But, yeah, that's where we at now, guys. A lot of people come on the internet and just say whatever pops to their head. They don't think about what they're saying. They just jump on here and just say anything. Oh, man, I don't know what it is. There. Salute, Michael. How you been?
Salute, what's going on? What's been on? What's been good with you?
I'm good. I'm good. How you?
Today the last day?
I'm doing well.
You at work?
Yeah, in the cafeteria.
Oh, okay. What you think about
Yeah,
what's going on, man? People trying to compare Boots versus Crawford situation to Canelo versus Benavidez situation. How you feel about that? Oh, he got off. Okay, let me add him back.
yeah. What's going on?
I said, what you think about what's going on? People trying to compare Canelo Benavidez situation to Crawford Boots. Do you think there's any comparison with that?
Nah, they nah, that's not a comparison.
Right.
Especially the way they was their careers was built up.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a comparison at all. You know, like this people they don't know the history of boxing. That's the problem.
Right.
When you're dealing with when you don't have a foundation, you just all over the place.
Right.
So like when like people like Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford then had is one of the fighters in boxing history that had a hard climb to prove that he the best fighter in the era.
Yeah. That's facts.
He had to do kind of shenanigans.
He's going in and out a little bit.
Yeah,
D-Ray,
because
salute.
be some dead spots in this hospital. But yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So Terence Crawford been undisputed twice
Facts.
in the four belt era. And if you and then before he before he got all the belts in those two different divisions, people was talking about his resume.
Right.
They was using that as some kind of a pin at the negotiating table for leverage.
Yup.
Okay, so let's go look at his resume. He went to the UK,
Got
fought
his
Ricky
first belt.
Burns, took
Mm-hmm.
his title.
And Ricky Burns is a multiple weight world champion too. People don't know that.
He beat Eureka's Gamboa when Eureka's Gamboa was undefeated
In his prime. Yup.
in his prime.
And look how Gervonta struggled with a 40-year-old Gamboa.
Right. So people don't, they need to start. What are you looking at? Do you know
Yeah,
what you're looking at?
I don't understand what these guys be looking at either.
So it's just like they want the public now want him to fight Boots, but it's no point of him fighting Boots.
Right.
Boots don't got nothing that he want or nothing. Boots don't got nothing to bring to the table as far as leverage.
Yup.
Or the only thing that's there is that it's a high profile fight. That's it. That's why Boots just signed with Eddie Hearn now with Matchroom
Yup.
because he signed. See,
We'll see if Eddie can really put the money up. Eddie's talking a good talk, but we'll see if he can put it up.
well, he got the money,
Yeah, but he gotta put it up though. He can say we know he got it, but he still gotta do it.
right? But he got the money. If he do something similar to what he did with Devin Haney, it'll all work out.
Yeah. The only
Some
problem
names,
is
it's some
the
names
only
on that
problem.
side of the pond that Boots can get.
Right. The only problem with this situation is right. I don't want Boots is from my city. I don't want his career to look like Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre signed with Eddie Hearn, and he couldn't get one big fight while he was over there with the zone. He kept fighting tomato cans at the tomato can. He couldn't get one big fight. And we knew Eddie had all the money. So what was going on with Eddie, and why didn't he go out his way to get at least one big fight for Andre? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That situation was bad. I didn't like that situation.
Well, yeah, he had. Well, see, it's another thing with him too. He had bad management after he won that title.
Who,
I
Andre?
for, Yeah, I forget who he had beat because I know it was the fight after he fought Brian Rose, I think,
Right.
if my memory serves me correctly, and then he won. He got a title fight after that. But yeah, his downfall was before he signed with Eddie Hearn, he could have fought one of the Charlos
Oh yeah, yeah.
and see
The small Charlo.
right and see he was basing it all off the money, but at that at that particular time, it's not about the money right there.
Right.
It's about you proving that you're the best in this weight class. See, had he fought Charlo and beat him, then he would have got the money after that
Yep.
because they would have had no choice because he would have had all of the belts at 154. He would have had most of the belts at that weight class. So they would have had to fight him. But the people that was in his corner, they just gave him some bad advice. You know, sometimes it's about the money. Sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture so you can see what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And
Facts.
that's not something he did. And then when he signed with
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Hearn basically was in handcuffs because he was going back and forth dealing with Canelo. So Canelo signed to the PBC for a couple of fights. Now Eddie Hearn don't have no leverage because PBC gave Canelo the money, so they got all the leverage. And then Canelo got leverage because he gonna choose who he want to fight.
Right.
So it's all just a mess. Basically, the promotional companies ruined boxing because
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely.
they thinking like they
D
gonna make
Ray,
all this
salute.
money
You want to say a few things?
off of one fight.
Yeah, yeah. But I was just trying to let the brother finish up cooking, bro. He doing his thing. That's cool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hey, but I appreciate you though, man. You know that, bro. And I'm gonna ask you again, like I did last time. When you pulling up to the gym up here in Omaha, bro?
Bud needs to fight more in Omaha. He needs to get
No, but I'm saying, but when you pulling up to the Bud Crawford gym, bro?
the next time he fights up there. I'm gonna try to come up there.
Yeah, but okay. Yeah, yeah. But I'm just saying, man. But the gym just be popping, man. Every day of the week, though, bro.
Yeah. Well,
It's like a
Chuck.
club. Hey, listen. Parking is all the way down the street, man, up on the grass, bro. Come on, man.
You know Chucky.
Yeah,
Chucky that got the food truck.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He been trying to get me to come down for a minute now. So
Yeah.
I'm eventually
Pull
gonna
up,
come down.
bro. Pull up, man. You done all that good work, man. You gotta just pull up, man, so you can check it out for yourself, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will.
So you can see the streets that that you can walk down the streets, bro, that Bud came up on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely will
It
check
ain't
it
nothing
out.
nice, bro. It ain't nothing nice. That's all I'm trying to say, man. But
Ah, trust me.
hey,
Trust me.
go ahead, bro.
I seen. I'm not gonna say I seen worse, but I seen maybe close to worse. I'm in Philly, bro. It's a rough
Yeah,
stop too.
bro, and we know that, man. And that's the one thing too, is that Philadelphia is like for me, bro, is really like the fight capital of America. You know what I mean? Because ain't nobody giving you nothing, bro. You gotta go out there and prove yourself. And that's the same thing that the same way Bud had to make his way, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gave him nothing, bro. But
Right.
then whenever he got an opportunity and a chance, he
Advantage
maximized it,
of it.
you know?
Yeah.
Now my thing with Boots, when you're talking about Boots and David,
Right.
David never left the sanctioning body so he wouldn't fight Canelo. You know what I mean? So he
I
never was
never
like.
put that in there too. That's a good one right there too.
Well, that's why I'm pulling up on you, bud.
Facts. David stayed in there for 3 years.
Yeah, for that one fight. So we already know. And the other one is, didn't they kind of say what they didn't want to fight on BLK Prime, that they was loyal to Showtime? Come on, bro. If
And
you got a
now
chance,
they
huh?
signed to DAZN, which kills that narrative.
Yeah, and Showtime getting out of boxing destroyed that narrative. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, well,
Facts.
that's like you being loyal and faithful to somebody who 6 months later leave you high and dry, bro. They ain't gave you no second thought. You know what I mean? And it ain't just him, but I'm just saying, bro, that like you guy was saying, bro, the promoters, the suits, the networks, man. Um, when they control the narrative in boxing, bro, this is what we get. You know what I'm saying? And
Yo,
stuff that we have to settle for. Every now and then there might be a great fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I can't even really say a great fight, but I'm saying, but a fight that we want. You
And you
know,
want
like
it.
that's good for the culture, bro. That what we talking about. You know.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, bro. I know you weren't trying to stay on long, man. But I just had to pull up on you, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Appreciate you.
I
Hey,
appreciate you refreshing my memory on David never leaving the WBC. That's a big one.
mm-hmm.
Omaha approves this message. Y'all subscribe, like, and share. Peace.
Appreciate
Tough.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the gist of it, bro. It's so
Hey
many fights
Michael,
that can be
you
made.
heard what Ryan said recently?
No, what'd he say?
Oh man, he said Earl was because he's in Earl and Derek James camp, right?
Yeah.
He said Earl. This is what Ryan Earl Stablemate is saying. He said Earl was high versus Terence Crawford. He got high before the fight, and he says F Earl. He says F Earl. I don't like that guy. F Earl. He was high versus Terence Crawford, and he's refusing to pay my trainer Derek James his money.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, he said I paid Derek James more money than Earl, and I made less money than Earl for fighting Oscar Duarte.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah. So Ryan was going off on Earl on Twitter Spaces.
yeah, Ryan picked the wrong trainer too.
Hey yo, did you hear the rumor that Derek James might be leaving boxing? People saying he's trying to retire. I don't know. Somebody said that earlier. I don't know how true that is.
No, I ain't heard those rumors, but it wouldn't surprise me
Yeah.
because he basically made a career off of Ronnie Shields.
Mm. Oh, how was they linked? They was linked? I didn't know that.
No, I mean, well, yeah, they was linked to some degree because Ronnie Shields used to train both of the Charlos.
Right.
So Derek James didn't build the
Jamal, yeah.
Jamal Charlo up. Ronnie Shields did,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
I
he
was
took all the
surprised
credit.
when the Charlo went when Jamal went over there to uh Derek.
Hmm.
I think because he had a little beef with his brother too.
Yeah, that's possible.
Cause remember their wife wasn't getting along.
Yeah, they had some domestic stuff going on.
Yeah, both of their wives wasn't getting along.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they was on and see what hurt them. They were so in line with that with PBC. They was only fighting one time a year,
Yeah.
bro. When you a fighter, you gotta fight.
Yep.
You should be fighting 3, 4 times a year, not once.
Yeah.
Especially the older you get.
Yep. That inactivity stuff does play a factor.
That's why guys wasn't looking good. They was having all these cherry picks or what they thought was cherry picks. And these guys, they really came to fight. They came to win.
Right.
And it didn't look good for them.
So that's when that's when they had started having problems selling tickets, especially in Dallas. They were saying that when the Charlos fought in Dallas, they had to do a lot of resales. And see, that's what they do when they throw out them numbers, talking about how many tickets they sold. They be throwing the resale numbers in too. That's why all that stuff is not. Those ain't true. Those ain't true numbers.
Yeah, they just be throwing those numbers out there.
What Leonard Ellerby be talking about? He just be talking.
Yeah, we could call Leonard Ellaby bluff from a mile away. Nobody believe anything he says.
No, they shouldn't.
I
'Cause
stopped taking Leonard Ellaby serious ever since he literally came on camera and said, "We call all of the shots. Javante can fight whoever he wants, and people like you are still going to pay for it." I was like, "Wow,
hmm
that's
that's how they.
crazy. How you gonna
That's how
say
they
something like
think.
that?"
Right. Because they
I'm
don't
not.
think the
That's like you're telling me you're giving me a bad product, and I'm still gonna pay for it. I'm not paying for it no more.
exactly. They
Yeah,
they haven't been calling. They haven't been calling any shots since Floyd Mayweather retired.
yeah, that's facts.
How long that's been? That's been almost 10 years now.
Yeah, almost 10 years. Yup.
So what Leonard Ellerby talking about? And
Yeah,
they can get mad all they want. The fact of the matter is, Javante Tate Davis don't fight nobody.
yeah, he don't.
Ain't nobody saying he don't got no skills. What they saying, they talking about his level of opposition. He doesn't fight anybody.
Yeah, he's not fighting the guys we want to see. He's
He
bringing dudes up in weight. We don't ask. We're not asking for him to bring guys up in weight.
no, we asking him to fight the best in your division.
That's facts.
That's why they that's why they turn around and say, well, oh, belts don't mean nothing. Oh, they don't? Well, I guess it don't. It depends on who holding the belts.
Right. If Shakur didn't have that WBC belt, they try to go unified with whoever had it, whoever has it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Shakur got it right now, so even if they wanted to become undisputed, they would have to see Shakur.
Right. Which is a tough fight.
Yep.
And that's what Shakur dealing with. Bro, you gotta get off social media. These guys be into their emotions. Now
Yep.
you fought who was the guy that he fought? Was it Dela Santos?
Yeah, De Los Santos.
And he didn't look good, right?
Yeah, he didn't look too good.
So bro, you gotta take that on the chin. That comes with the territory.
Yep.
I mean, you should already know these writers in boxing, they don't know what the hell they talking about. And they are walking contradiction. Just like when Floyd was fighting Pacquiao. They say Floyd, they say he too big for Pacquiao, but he not too big for Marquez, and they the same size.
He's not too big for who?
He too big for Pacquiao, but he not too big for Marquez.
Yeah, that don't make sense. Floyd came all the way from 130.
Right, they the same size. Ain't didn't Pacquiao come from all the way from 130?
He came. I think he came lower because he like eighth division.
Well, if he came from 126, it's kind of still the same.
Yeah, it's close to it.
Yeah. It's
Better than
it's not a
the other guy.
yeah, it's not a big disparity in weight class.
Yeah, not too much because they both came from lower weight classes.
Right. So what we talking about? Just like the whole theory of the bigger guy in boxing. That don't mean nothing. Not
Right.
it doesn't mean nothing when the fighter he fighting transcends weight class.
Yup. When
That's
the skill,
right. That's
he carries his skills up there with him.
that's the whole that was the issue with Earl Spence and Terence Crawford.
Right.
The best chance Earl Spence had is to fight Terence Crawford
the
When he
first time he
first
got the
came up.
welterweight. When he
Yes.
first came up.
And we've been saying that for years. Like,
We've
you
been
better get him now.
yeah,
You better get him now.
we've been
You
saying
let
that
that
for years.
you let that man build into that weight class, it's over for you.
It's over for you.
And
You let
look,
him get
and
comfortable
look,
at the weight.
and look what happened. It wasn't even a
Yeah,
50-50 fight. It wasn't even a 70-30 fight. It was like a 90-10 fight.
right. And
A
then
one-sided
now,
ass whooping.
right. And then what's so disgusting is when Keith Thurman pulled out of the Tim Tszyu fight,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden Sebastian Fandor is just waiting in the wings.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then after Sebastian Fandor beat Tim Tszyu,
Earl come out of
now
nowhere.
all of a sudden Earl come out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's
It's the same stuff. So now since they can't use Keith Thurman as a bridge to freeze out Terence Crawford, now they're gonna use Sebastian Fandor because he got the belts now.
Mm.
So and Leonard Ellaby, what did he come out and say? They asked him who you think deserved the fight to fight Sebastian
Earl, he's
Fandor.
family.
It's like, come on, bro. You already know what it is. You in the same breath you say Terence Crawford is a beast, but then you gonna turn around and say that Earl Spence deserved a fight because he got ties with PBC. Man, knock it off.
Yeah, these guys are playing. These guys are playing dirty.
Yeah, they playing big time. And like I told you before, all the promotional companies they do the same thing. They just might do it in a different way. That don't make it. That don't make it the. That don't make it what they doing is not the same because they
Yeah,
do it in a different way. And then that's why Ennis and them signed with Matchroom
yep,
because they had to eat the bad decision that they was loyal to Showtime.
yep.
What you loyal to a company that's getting out of boxing?
Yeah, that don't make sense. That's just the blind leading the blind right there.
Yeah. And the Weasel told you they was getting out of boxing.
Yeah,
Y'all ain't lit. Y'all ain't believe him.
they sitting around like, what's next? You gonna sit around waste your career like that? Your prime
Steve
years?
Es- right. Steve Espinoza told y'all they was getting out of boxing. Y'all ain't believe him. Then when it blew up in y'all face, now you got to eat it because you could have fought Terence Crawford.
Yep.
For
And
what was
even
reported,
Steven admitted that he was the one who blocked the Terence Crawford fight. He said he was more interested in making Earl versus Bud. But isn't Jaron Ennis your fighter? How you gonna block Jaron Ennis' opportunity? So if I'm Jaron Ennis and I hear Steven Espinoza say something like that, saying I was more interested in making Earl versus Bud instead of Jaron Ennis versus Terence Crawford, I would be mad if I was a fighter because I would want my interest to be first.
is that it, absolutely?
Yeah. How you gonna say something like that? Oh, I was more interested in making Earl and Bud when BLK Prime came to me trying to uh, talk about a fight with Jaron Boots Ennis. Like what?
Mm-hmm. And all
After
that's a lie.
after Ennis heard that, he should have been like, "Oh yeah, this guy
Yeah,
don't
he
have
should have
my
been.
best interest at heart."
Mm-hmm. And that was a lie that he said that you weren't interested in making the Terrence and Earl fight. Y'all was
Right.
interested in making the Earl Keith Thurman fight.
Yeah, that's what he really wanted to make, y'all. It was Earl. It was Earl who wanted. It was Earl who was going against the grain because he had listened to his fans too much, and they put a battery in his back. and he actually thought he
Yep.
could win that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Earl Spence would have been out of welterweight if
Yeah,
if if PBC would have had him on a different trajectory. He
right.
wouldn't even been in welterweight no more. He would have he would have fought for the belts and moved up before Terence Crawford even moved up.
Yep.
But like I said, they plans blew up in their face with that with they marketing strategy. Fighting once a year, bro. Okay. And
Yeah, they could have.
promising these guys all this money.
Facts.
Look at their company now. Look at their fighter roster. What fighter they got?
Yeah, a lot of guys are like old veterans on their way out, or it's crazy. But yeah,
Is
some of the
is what's
fights
the name?
that PBC failed to give us is like still bothering me, man. I really wanted to see Earl versus Thurman when it was hot, and
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to see Jamel versus Jerry Hurd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine those fights, man. Why didn't we get those fights? PBC dropped the
Mm-hmm.
ball.
Yep. Trying to do all that in-house stuff.
They dropped
Yeah.
the ball on some of those fights, man.
Yep. So now it's the young boy. Now it's the young bull's turn. Haney lead the charge,
Yep.
and Devin Haney will fight anybody.
And people are doubting that Devin Haney's gonna come up to 47. I see Devin Haney coming up to 47 in the next year or two.
Do you see how big Devin Haney is?
Yeah, he's a big boy. He gonna come up there.
That's why what's name didn't get in the ring with him.
Who?
Javante Tank,
Oh yeah. Tank don't
because
want.
he couldn't put
Yeah.
that hydration clause on him.
Yep.
And Haney's wasn't going for it. So the only way he fight Devin Haney, he got to fight him at 140. They're not
Yeah.
coming back down.
Not yeah. Haney not coming back down. He missed his opportunity. What
Mm-hmm.
Javante should have did if I was directing Javante Davis' career, right? This is what I would have did immediately after the Vasily Lomachenko fight, because a lot of people was hating, saying Devin Haney lost the fight. You know, it's mixed with everybody. Some people saying Devin won, some people saying Loma won. Immediately after that fight, that means Devin Haney confidence isn't as high as it should be, because people are doubting that he won the fight. Some people are saying he won, some people are saying he didn't. Javante should have sent Devin a contract immediately. After a performance where a lot of the fans believe Devin wasn't at his best versus Lomo, Javante should have sent Devin a contract immediately, because Javante now has confidence. Hey, yo, you didn't look too good against Lomo. Now I know I got a chance of beating you. But he let that opportunity go. He let Devin go up and wait. I think that's where he messed up at.
Mm-hmm.
He would have
Yeah,
had
for
the
sure.
momentum right there.
Yep, for sure. But
But he missed
anybody
out
that
on his opportunity. He let that man go up to 140. Now it's a little bit more difficult. And once he went up to 140, he looked great against Regis. So now
mm-hmm.
everybody can say, man, maybe he looked a little bit bad against Lomo because he was weight drained. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, see, he wasn't. See, that's why the him. If anybody that knows boxing, they know that
Right.
he beat Lomachenko.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm just saying, you know how people are
yeah.
on the internet.
Mm-hmm. So
When the
what?
fight is when
This
the fight is a little bit close, they say is a robbery.
right? It's a close fight, but what makes it more impressive? Haney wasn't weight drained. His body was just. It's time to get out of that weight class. He had outgrown the weight class, and
Facts.
he still had enough discipline to make 135 and fight
Yep.
Lomachenko.
He was there too long. Yep.
Yeah, he was there too long. his body had already told him after he beat Kambosos the second time,
Yeah, to
and he
go up.
should have knocked him out both times, in my opinion,
Yeah,
because the uppercut was there all night long. He just didn't let it go. But he beats Lomachenko after he outgrew a weight class, and then we see it's a totally different performance when he fight Regis Prograis.
yeah.
Totally different.
A masterclass performance.
Mm-hmm. So
Like,
now,
even I couldn't believe it. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Michael. I was like, whoa. I didn't think Devin could pull that off.
yeah, I knew he could.
Yeah,
Just
that was
from his
impressive.
his background, from his upbringing from boxing.
Right.
He studied under the Mayweathers.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So it's like, and he developed those skills. So, bruh, he gonna be a tough out at 140, and he can
Yep.
fight. He can fight anybody. I think he'll beat the brakes off Sabril Matias.
Yeah, a lot of people thinking Matias could beat Haney. I don't see it. I don't see
No,
how he beats Haney.
no,
Haney knows
and
how to take away these guys' power.
mm-hmm,
And that's what some boxing fans don't understand. They see power and they think the guy's gonna win automatically. That's what they're
no,
banking off with Ryan.
no, no. He'll beat Pitbull Cruz too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And who else got the belt at 140? It's Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah,
And
Teo.
Teofimo, they not gonna fight Haney.
Yeah, Teo don't want
That's
that
that.
fight. He had an
That's
opportunity to
all.
fight Haney at 35 as well.
Yeah. So Teofimo Lopez is not gonna fight Haney. That's why they not going for undisputed, because they know Lopez not gonna fight him. That's why they
Yeah.
haven't been talking about it at 140. They just been talking about making the biggest fights possible,
Yep.
because they know Lopez not gonna fight Haney.
But
So
Michael, I
yep.
gotta get off. I gotta take care of some stuff. I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna try to go live more often.
All right, good brother. Appreciate you as well.
All right, have a
Appreciate
good
you.
one. All right,
Yep. All right, you too. Safe travel.
you too.